Gymnasium on the campus of the University of Illinois here in Champaign. We begin our second rotation. We'll start with the rings, and let's look at the requirements for the rings here.
On the rings, it's a combination of swing and strength. They have to swing to handstand position. They have to do a strength move to handstand. They also are required to do a static strength position, and that's just basically a position where they're not moving, and they're just holding their body in a strength move. And then an additional strength move either to handstand or anything they'd like.
We'll get things started here with Jim Knopp from Ohio State. First up on the rings. The vault will be in this rotation as well, along with the rings. And things will not move quite so quickly as they did in the first rotation. Jim Knopp from Ohio State getting set to go on the rings. Knopp, a junior from Poland, Ohio. Ohio State Buckeyes currently ranked number 2 in the country in college men's gymnastics. Number 1 is Stanford. All 7 of these Big Ten teams are ranked in the top 11 in the country.
And Jim mounts with a kip to L cross. That is one of those strength requirements. And here is his strength press to handstand. Scratch off another requirement. And now here's a swing, right to handstand. Beautiful. You're looking for handstand positions that have no bobbles at all. And 2 piked Yamawakis in a row. Excellent. Of course, named after a Japanese gymnast. Another press to handstand. And now he'll bail into his dismount. Ooh. Excellent dismount. Unfortunately, he landed a little low. In an open pike position, it was a full twisting double back. Just couldn't quite pull his feet underneath.
Jim Knopp from Ohio State.
Okay, here are those piked Yamawakis. Basically kind of a double front where you're holding onto the rings.
Now vaulting from Minnesota, Carrie Houston.
Done very nicely.
Let's go to the vault. Here's Carrie Houston from Minnesota. Had a disappointing floor.
And again, let's look for some real power vaults. Excellent. Very unusual vault. It's a layout front. The thing that is so difficult is Carrie doesn't see the floor until almost when his feet hit. There, he rips the board, and look, his body is stretched the whole time. And really, he's kind of just, he has to feel when the floor is coming up, boom, he takes the landing. Excellent vault.
I think Carrie a little bit happier with his vault there than the floor exercise. Saw some strange things in that floor, and I know, Rob, you were real disappointed that you didn't see the whole routine that Carrie's able to do.
Right. It really just looked like he kind of stubbed his toe.
Here's the vault requirements on this event.
And again, these seem very simple. The athlete has to touch a hand or both hands on the horse, and he has to land on his feet. If he happens to land on his butt first, it's a 0 vault. He gets a score of 0. So important to get your feet down on the floor. And in yesterday's competition, Carrie did an awesome vault, a handspring double front. And I hope to see it right here.
We'll see if it happens right now.
Yes. Oh. Again, big time vault. Unfortunately, it looked like he just didn't get enough off the horse to give himself enough height to pull it around. Right here, see how he's kind of crunched on the horse? And there's the cowboy tuck to help him rotate. Just didn't have enough to get it around.
Another look
and here
at
he goes again. Right here, he needs to get up higher. And he's cranking as hard as he can, just not enough. His feet slip out, and again, he got his feet down first, so he'll get a score.
We'll go back to the rings. Ricardo Sheriel from Illinois. Score to beat 9.30.
And Ricardo has to be happy about getting into rings. This is typically one of his weaker events. He's got a long body. It's hard to control. Right now, he's in a little trouble. The event is called Still Rings, and right now, Ricardo's got him swinging. And then he managed to hold those handstands and get through his dismount, which was a half and half out, which is basically a double back with a full twist.
He just does not look terribly happy with that effort.
And again, right there, he's struggling to get up to the handstand. He saves it. But it's going to be a deduction. Again, the judges are looking for the nice straight body in the handstand position. I compliment him on saving it and getting through it, but again, not as crisp as he might have liked it.
We go back to the vault. Here's Mike Masucci from Penn State. First year that Penn State has competed in the Big Ten in gymnastics. Runner-up last year in the Nationals, Penn State.
And I think we've got another original vault, a 1.5 on, handspring off. Again, the vault has been around, but it just hasn't been used until recently. Again, watch. This is kind of, if you're familiar with diving, he's going to do a front and half as if he's going to go into the water, touches the horse, and does a handspring off.
Look at it from another angle.
He does a front flip over the horse with a half, extra half, touches it, and off. Very difficult, but one thing that's required on horse is that they get 2 meters in distance. And since he's not doing the typical entry, it's hard for him to come down on the horse like he did and then also push off and get 2 meters away from the horse. So there's advantages and then disadvantages to that vault. And again, it puts the judges in a situation where, you know, they say, geez, it's a really neat vault, it's original, it's difficult, but he didn't quite have any post-flight and not enough distance.
He gets ready for vault number 2. His team, Penn State, currently ranked 4th in the country. Behind Stanford, Ohio State.
And there he opts for a traditional vault. Handspring front in the pike position. Nice landing, a small step. And if you'll notice, he was... Watch how far he travels off the horse. Well, the horse is out of the picture. He's got to be 3 or 4 meters out there compared to his first vault where he was maybe 1.5 meters or 2 meters. And again, it's a 2 meter distance minimum. So I'll be interested to see how the judges score him.
Again, a reminder, this is the individual event competition here. Teams championships have been decided already, and Minnesota has won the championship 3rd straight year. Here's Nat Goodale from Ohio State on the rings.
And you can imagine the flexibility it takes to do that. He mounts with a back upright swing to handstand. And there's that inverted cross I mentioned on floor. It's a strength part. There's that pike Yamawaki. Right to a Maltese. Beautiful. And an iron cross. This kid is strong. And now his Preston handstand. You know, again, he's just doing this routine with authority. It just looks half and half outs. Nice landing. The dismount looked like he was struggling a little bit, but the rest of the routine was beautiful.
Let's go back and look at one of the presses here.
That was his inverted cross. Pike. Now watch this. Back uprise, right to a Maltese. Super strength.
And the dismount.
And again, here's his dismount. And look, he hardly got his body up in the rings. And he pulled in for landing, but again, it would have been nice to get higher.
We're back to the vault. Here's Peter Bastian from Ohio State with his first vault.
And that vault is called a Kazamatsu in the stretch body position. And the thing you're looking for here in vaults is the height off the horse. And it was pretty good. You saw him coming kind of low in the landing. You're going to see some vaulters tonight that really explode off the horse.
Peter Bastian from Ohio State, a native of Duxbury, Massachusetts. He is a sophomore. And
I guess we should also mention that the gymnasts are doing 2 vaults, and their placement is determined by the total of those 2 vaults. So they don't take the best of the 2. They need both vaults, so it's not a 1 vault game here. These guys have to hit 2 vaults. Little trouble on the dismount. On the landing. What he did that time was a Kazamatsu in a tuck position, and then he added an extra half twist. Nice vault.
We'll take a break. When we come back, John Roethlisberger from Minnesota, the favorite, will be up on the rings. Here's John Roethlisberger from Minnesota on the rings.
And a good event for John. He was 4th on this event last year at the Big Tens. And that was a German front uprise. I can't begin to explain the strength it takes to handle that position on your shoulders. And a nice press to handstand. And another inverted cross. And look how he's got his head down in the rings. That's what the judges are looking for in that skill. And a nice back upright to handstand. Ooh, a little struggle. Nice big swings. And a double-double, which is a double twisting double back. Kind of low, took a hop, but it's a big-time dismount. And there's that inverted cross. Again, see how low he gets his head? And right
dismount.
On this dismount, he needs to crank a little hard right there to turn it over. Comes in a little short, takes the hop.
John Roethlisberger from Minnesota, still just a junior. We'll go back to the vault. Mark Cooper from Penn State now, just a freshman.
Nice landing. Beautiful. Again, the stretch Kazumatsu, and really he did the most important thing on vault, and that is he stuck the landing. Watch, he's got nice form. There's the half on, and now he begins to flip with the twist. Beautiful form in the air, and boom, nails the landing.
Well, he really stuck that one.
And it's really, I can't begin to explain how important the landing is, because vault isn't that complicated. The gymnasts are going to kind of do the same vaults, and really the only place they can be different is to stick the landings.
Mark obviously very happy with his first vault there. You may have caught him slapping his hands together when he hit the end there.
Again, it's a 2-vault competition, so let's see if he can stick the second one.
From Austin, Texas, Mark Cooper for Penn State.
And a piked handspring front. Decent landing, takes a step back. Not the same difficulty vault as his first vault. There it is, pike position, look to the ground. He almost stuck it. You could see him just trying to squeak it out. Got to take the step.
Back to the rings, Paul Bowdle from Iowa.
That's called an Azarian roll. It's a back lever to cross, big time straight. And now he does a front lever to cross. This amazes me. Paul looks so slender.
Yeah.
Not as thick as some of the other guys. And he just locks right into those strength moves. There's his swing to handstand, a back up rise to the handstand position. And there's a front bail, another L cross.
Well, you compare his size to a guy like, say, Kerry Houston, there really is no comparison.
I don't know what it is, a different diet or something. And now he's going in this another shoot to handstand. A little problem with swing, and half and half out. Nice routine.
Yep.
Again, he's looking for the stick on the landing, but the thing that was impressive was his strength moves. I mean, he just doesn't leave any doubt. Look at that. Boom. L cross. No questions. And again, you don't want to give the judges any opportunity to second guess what you're doing. And there's the dismount, full twisting double back. And a lot of times, these steps on the landings will sneak up and knock your position or or hurt you in the ending.
See the score to beat for Jim Round, 18.80 from Michigan, back on the vault.
And again, the stretch Kazumatsu, nice landing, kind of a hop backwards. Jim seemed to get up higher off the horse, and he was able to keep his body in one position. Nice stretch, and there's the hop. One thing the judges are also looking for is right there, before his hands got to the horse. As soon as you touch the board, the judges start looking at your form. And Jim, of course, had his legs apart, and you know, that's a simple deduction. I guess it's easier to see when he's going slow motion, but sometimes even in regular speed, you can pick up those leg separations.
Jim Round from Chicago, from Evanston, Illinois. If you're wondering about Northwestern, which is, of course, the location, Evanston, Illinois, of Northwestern, they do not field a men's gymnastics team.
Which is unfortunate because Chicago is a hotbed for men's gymnastics. Here's the second vault. And there's a stretch Suk Ahara. And that, again, is a stuck landing. No questions, period, the end. A little split on the entry. But again, look at that. He's got all day to look for the landing. Just sticks it right in there.
Jim Round there from Michigan. Here's David Alexander, Ohio State. We go back to the rings, a sophomore. And the score to beat 9.65 at this point.
And David kind of typifies the typical ring man. He's short, stocky, looks very strong. Let's see what he puts together here. Kippa across, nice. And he pulls out of the L cross. And a Maltese. This kid is strong. 3 strength moves in a row, and there's more. That's an Olympic cross in an L position with a little originality. Usually, the Olympic cross is done with the legs straight down in a hollow back press. At this point, I lost count. 5 or 6 strength moves in a row. There's his swing to handstand. Picks up a little string of the rings, and his dismount, double layout with his step. The strength was very impressive in the beginning. Unfortunately, he was a little weak in the swinging requirement of rings. And again, I don't know if we've seen anyone stick a ring dismount. And watch this. He turns towards the ring and drops down. He's got one arm behind him, one arm in front.
And the dismount.
And the double layout. And you can see about 1.5 flips through. He's got to start piking for the floor to try to make that landing.
Here's Rathlisberger again.
Now, I think Johnny's first vault is going to be really hot. Nice. A stretched Kazumatsu. Again, that's a Sukara with a full twist. Here's another look. Nice, high stretch body. And hop on the landing. And Johnny kind of styles that vault a little bit. When he's upside down, you can see him throw his head back, his arms go out a little bit. He's looking for the ground, kind of showing off a little bit. You know, basically saying, you know, I'm up here. There's no problem with this vault.
You really think Rob this man will be on the Olympic team, don't you?
Yeah, John, again, has had a great career the past 2 years. He really had a shot at making the World Championship team this past September. Unfortunately, bobbled at the championship meet, bumped him back into the alternate position, which is 7th. There's no reason Johnny should not make the Olympic team.
It's set for a second vault. Still just a junior. With a chance to bring his team back next year for a chance at a 4th straight team title.
Excellent vault. That was a full twisting Kazumatsu. So that's 2 twists on a Sukara. Again, that is just a level above what we've seen tonight. Here, double twist, looks to the ground, feet come down. You could tell he didn't quite finish the twist because his toes were kind of pointing to the side a little bit. And the other interesting thing, almost looked like he was going to slip off the board. but he pulled it off. Again, that's a big-time vault.
9.65 the score to beat. Kip Simons back on the rings from Ohio State.
Again, Kip mounts with the Azarian roll to an L cross. The shoulder strength is just incredible. Kip to Maltese, beautiful. And unusual, that is another thing that's new to the sport. He actually did a half twist, and the ring cables are twisted. And then on the way back on the swing, he twists the rings back to the L position. And there's the Pike Yamawaki to a back upright handstand, beautiful. Again, the rings are still, no question, the judges really have nothing to take off. And a stretch double out. There's our stuck landing.
Oh, he nailed
Excellent. I'll tell you something else the judges look for, and that's last impression. And Kip left the judges with just an awesome feeling. There's that half twist. The cables are twisted, and then he untwists them back to an L.
We'll come back. We'll step aside for these messages here on Prime Network. We're back here in Champaign, Illinois. Brian Winkler from Michigan is on the vault. We will see his second vault. While we were away, he completed vault number 1, and he'll go back at it again. And Brian Winkler from Michigan.
He performed a stretched Cuervo, or front with a half. Very difficult vault. And we really haven't seen too many front vaults done in the stretched position. Kerry did one, and again, Brian here. Unfortunately, he landed kind of low and took a big hop. Let's see if he can put it together here on his second vault. Another little tidbit of information that the gymnasts have 25 meters to run. And if you'll notice, there's some tape marks there in the back, and that's probably the 25-meter mark. Excellent. Stretch Kazamatsu, small step backwards. Nice vault. Again, beautiful form. Well, he really rocks this board. Boom. Beautiful stretch and a landing. I mentioned earlier about the distance on the post flight. I think Brian would have liked to gotten a little farther from the horse, but still a nice vault.
Here's Wayne Cowden from Penn State as we go back to the rings.
Wayne is a stud on this event. Look at this. Oh!
Wow.
Dip. He dips and pulls to the cross position. Look how low his arms are straight across. Kip across, pull out. Again, he just looks a little better than what we've seen tonight. Wayne won NCAAs on rings 2 years ago. He was second last year. Nice swing to handstand. Ooh, kind of a little bobble there. And a front giant. Again, unusual. He's having trouble with the handstands. And he widens up for the dismount. Stretch half in, half out. And a little hop in the dismount. And you can kind of see the disappointment on his face.
Yep.
This strength part right here is so tough. Look at this. I mean, he's basically hanging on his shoulder muscles. And now he's got to engage and pull out of it to the cross. That is really neat.
Wayne Cowden from Penn State. Let's go back to the vault here. Jim Coltherbertson from Iowa.
Nice vault. Now, he had that explosion off the horse I've been talking about. That was the Kazamatsu in the tuck position, and he adds a half twist. So really a 1.5 twisting Sukahara. Watch how he kind of explodes off the horse. Boop! And he's up in the air. A good, 3 feet. Kind of a big step on the landing, but overall, just an excellent vault.
Another Illinois product, a senior from Lombard, Illinois. And Jim Coltherbertson will get set for his second vault. The Iowa Hawkeyes currently rated number 8 in the country in men's gymnastics in the NCAAs.
And I think Jim has set himself up really nice here. If he can land the second vault, it should put him right in the race here for a medal on vault. Excellent. That is the vault that Johnny did. Again, he had that little extra off the horse, and he seemed to come dropping out of the air into the landing. Again, it looks more impressive. Again, it's called a full twisting Kazamatsu. 2 twists. Wraps it in, double twist, a landing. I guess it should be mentioned, he also kind of had the staggered foot landing that Johnny had. Didn't quite finish a twist, but he had a little extra height. Excellent vaults.
We go back to the rings. Mike Reichenbach from Penn State.
And again, another stud on this event. 7th at the NCAAs last year, and again, we're watching some big-time strength moves. Right there, roll to a cross, and 4 or 5 strength moves in a row. These guys are strong. And here's his swing to a handstand. Beautiful. Again, no swing of the rings, no bobbling in the handstand. And a front giant to handstand. All right, he's going to wind up for his dismount. He's looking for the big blue. Stick it. Ooh. He tried to do a full twisting double in the pike position and just didn't get enough off the bottom. All right, here's his strength. An Olympic cross in the L position. And another one. The strength is unbelievable. Unfortunately, he kind of took a low landing.
Back to the vaults. Adam Carton, Penn State, the senior, score to beat 19.075 now.
Adam Carton.
Excellent vault. The stretch Kazamatsu, excellent height off the horse. And again, he's just flying down the runway. Boom. Look, he's got all day to look for the ground. He really was looking at the ground halfway through his flip, and that makes it all the easier to make the landing. And it just gives him a chance to style it off. He's up there, he knows he's high, throws his head back and just looks for the blue landing.
I mentioned Rob, Penn State joining the Big Ten Conference in their first gymnastics competition this year. How do the rest of the teams feel about that? I mean, this is a very good gymnastics program.
Yeah, Penn State, again, second in NCAAs last year as a team.
Do other teams welcome this, welcome the new competition?
Well, I'll tell you, Penn State's kind of been isolated out on the East Coast, and a lot of people feel that maybe they get some escalated scores. Excellent. Tuck Kazamatsu with a half twist. Beautiful landing. Again, overall, just really impressive vaults. He's got form, he's got height, he's sure of the landings. Excellent job. He's going to have to place on this event tonight. No problem. Again, he's almost kicking out for the landing.
And we go back to the rings now. Adrian Besankan.
And there's that Olympic L-cross. At one point, that was very original, but we've seen it several times tonight. That's a shoot to inverted cross. Added difficulty because he's not lowering from a handstand. And a back uprise to inverted. Another cross. An L cross in the, and again, 4 or 5 strength moves in a row. And now he'll do a press to handstand. That's called a hollow back press. A little different. And now let's see if he can swing. Boom. Nails the handstand. Good job. And stick. Small step. Overall, excellent routine.
Adrian Besankan from Iowa. Let's take a look at it. his event again here, the rings.
Now there's his inverted cross. Unfortunately, he has picked up a little swing with the rings, and he kills it. A gymnast can do that. If he bails out of the handstand on the right swing, he can kill the swing that he's generated. And the half and half out, ooh, a little short, takes a step. And I'll tell you, right instant before your feet hit the floor, you are so keyed in on sticking it. If you look at their faces, you can really see how they're trying to not move their feet. And the disappointment when they have to take a step.
We'll stay on the rings here. Rich Briggs from Penn State, a junior from West Palm Beach, Florida. They come from all over the country to compete in gymnastics in the Big Ten. A lot of athletes from Florida, a few from Texas. As Rob mentioned, several from the Chicago area.
Yeah, Chicago has a great history of putting out excellent gymnasts for decades, and a lot of them of which now coach. And in fact, Fred Roethlisberger is a product of Wisconsin, the Milwaukee area, went to Madison. And I guess it should be mentioned also that Mr. Dunn, the coach at Iowa, is a gymnast from Penn State. So I guess they kind of all feed each other's programs in the long run.
Rich Briggs from Penn State on the rings.
And Rich was second last year on rings at the NCAA championships. Back upright to handstand, back giant to handstand. And now here comes the power. Beautiful Maltese. Another Maltese. And again, look how straight his body is. Beautiful position. Kipped across, L cross pull up. You know, it's really it's amazing that they've got the shoulder strength to do as many skills as they're doing tonight. And a double layout. Ooh, a small step. Excellent routine. Again, you could just tell he's doing that routine with authority. There's no question in his mind, and he really leaves no question in the judge's mind. Boom, right to the position, no problem.
And his dismount for
Now,
Rich Briggs.
His dismount could have had a little more rotation and height, but he manages to suck his feet down to the floor and take a small step.
We will stay on the rings again. Chip Greaves for the Iowa Hawkeyes, a senior again, an Illinois native, Naperville, Illinois. Should have finished your thought, if you would, Rob, about Penn State and the idea that some people think they might get some generous scores out on the East Coast.
Unfortunately, gymnastics uses judges, and it's subjective. The scoring, you need the scoring, and the scoring determines who goes to the regionals, who goes to NCAAs, and of course you want your local schools to go. So, you know, there's always questions about our judges throwing the scores they should, or are they maybe giving an extra 10th here and there to get their teams into the championship meets. But it's nice to see everyone out on the same floor here tonight.
Again, here's Chip Greaves from Iowa on the rings.
Kip out cross. Pulls right out. And that is a legs together plunge. And he bails out of it right to a shoot to handstand. Looks like more strength. Another L cross. I think we're kind of having a strength competition tonight. These guys are unbelievable. And here's his press to handstand. So right now, he is done with his requirements. He's just got to stick his dismount. There's more. There's the half twist in the rings, and he swings through. Oh, that I have never seen. He twisted the rings, but he never untwisted them. He dismounted with the cables crossed, and unfortunately, it looked like it kind of torqued him crooked.
Here's some of the action early on here from Greaves. And we'll look at the dismount.
Okay,
here.
here's the swing half turn. The cables are crossed.
And here's the dismount.
There's the cross. Now he does a shoot through the straps, crossed, and he tries to crank a dismount of it. If you could see right at the bottom, the crossed cables kind of started to pull him back, and it made him go crooked and just goofed up his dismount.
So we look at the final results in the steel rings in the competition here. It is Kip Simons from Ohio State, the winner, 9.80. Rich Briggs from Penn State in second place, then the tie for third, then fifth and sixth, as you see there on your screen. And Rob, let's go back and look at our winner again, Kip Simons.
And Kip, along with the other guys in finals tonight, just a tremendous show of strength. Look at this Maltese. But unlike his competitors, he hit his handstands, and he landed his dismount. And, you know, you got to go back to the basics. You hit the basic handstands, and you're going to win it.
All right, let's move on to the vault as you see the final results here. Roethlisberger from Minnesota is the winner. He was the favorite coming in. And Culbertson from Iowa in second place. Then you see 3, 4, 5, and 6 right there. Stay with us. We've got the parallel bars and the high bars coming up. Jerry Schimmel and Rob Brown back in Huff Gymnasium on the campus of the University of Illinois here in Champaign. The Big Ten Men's Gymnastics Championships for 1992. Let's look at the requirements for the parallel bar event.
And one of the requirements is a skill that originates in a swing position and then does the skill, or finishes in a swing position. And a skill that has simultaneous grip release, and of course they'll grab back onto the bars.
So first up on the parallel bars is Matthew White from the host school, Illinois.
We'll begin with the parallel.
Now this is basketball. We'd call this angle the slam cam. But of course it is not basketball. It is gymnastics and the parallel bars.
But it is still an excellent shot. And he mounts with a peach straddle cut. And that was an example of a skill that started with a swing, and then he finishes the skill. And a Diamond to one bar. Right now, those are some really big skills. Stutz to handstand, back toss, a little short, but no deduction. Back upright straddle cut L. Press handstand. And a tuck double dismount with a step. Excellent routine. The first two skills in his set were really difficult and done very well.
The hometown crowd behind him here. Here's the dismount.
And there's nice tuck position. It was done well enough where I think if he would have just picked up the ground a little sooner, he could have went for the stuck landing.
We move on now to the high bar. And this is Brian Otenhoff, the defending champion in this event, the high bar.
And Brian's got a nice swing. There's a legs together, reverse hack right to a ginger. 2 releases in a row, which is really common and almost required nowadays. And now he does a full pirouette to the dorsal grip. And that's some style. He did that giant with a stretched body. And now he's winding up for his dismount. Triple back. Oh! I think he would have had it if he would have stayed in the tuck, but he kicked out. He must have been 6 feet above the bar. He was looking good, and then, you can imagine, you kind of get disoriented when you're flipping that fast and that many times. Watch this. He is way up there, grabs and he's pull. Now right here, should have stayed in, and he comes out and touches the hands. Nice routine up to that point. Again, at least he's trying some of the big-time skills.
Back to the parallel bars, Rusty Schillinger.
And he also mounted with a peach straddle cut, a diamond off, another diamond off to one bar. And a cast up arm, back upright, straddle cut out. And P-bars is basically a swinging event. You've got some stops in the handstand, tuck dismount, double back, nice landing, great routine.
Rusty Schillinger from Ohio State, nice dismount there.
And again, he's kind of doing sets that the judges can't really deduct on.
Here are the event requirements for the high bars.
The gymnast has to do a release move where both hands come on, off, and of course he'd regress the bar. And then I mentioned that dorsal grip, which is kind of hard to explain. I'll try to point it out when an athlete's doing it. That basically he's rolling his wrists out and still holding onto the bar.
The Italian stallion back, Mike Masucci from Penn State.
And right there he does a front giant with the wrong grip. And here's a one-arm giant. And here's his release move, Ginger. Oh! Now you can't get any closer than that to the high bar. He worked out of it really well. And there's that dorsal grip. If you can see, he hopped his hands, kind of rolled them out. And his dismount. He double layouts. And unfortunately, he let go of the bar too soon, kind of slung the dismount out, and he had to go down and touch the floor. Now, watch how close. He's right on top of the bar. He kind of avoids hitting his feet right to the rib cage. Now, the thing impressive is he works out of it. I think most gymnasts would have taken the shot to the ribs, gone to the ground, and taken their 30-second break. But he's tough, and he worked right out of it.
Still smiling after that.
And it's probably an example of why Penn State has such a good team.
Yep.
The guys are going for every 10th.
Yep, Mike Masucci from Penn State. Back to the parallel bars.
Kip Simons.
Here's Kip Simons again. We have seen plenty of Kip Simons this evening, and he's back on the parallel bar. Score to beat 9.625 now.
And right now, P-Bars has been a good event. The first two guys had really nice sets. No room for error. And this looks like an original mount. He kind of reached behind himself here. He'll probably do a jump glide kip to a straddle cut. And now we're going to look for probably a giant swing. There it is. Cool. It's like he bails through the bottom to a front uprise. Called a tippelt. Wow. A front 1 and 3 in between the bars. Back studs, straddle cut out. That front 1 and 3 is a cool looking trick. And you can imagine it's like taking a good punch to the arms when you come back onto those bars. And a tuck double with a little hop. Nice routine. Again, he threw in a really, it's kind of an original routine. Did some skills that we haven't seen in the first two routines.
And here it is.
He does a front uprise, winding up for the skill. Boom, off the bars. 1 3/4 flips right out to his arms. Tough trick. And here's his double back dismount. Nice tuck and a little hop. Good routine.
Well, he did take a shot to the triceps there, didn't he?
He's going to be rewarded for it, though. Originality and virtuosity.
We go back to the high bar again. Here's Jim Knopp. 9.35 now the score to beat here.
And a one-arm giant. I think he wanted to keep going. Oh, beautiful. Straddle Tkachev to a Ginger. And he is just stretched to get that bar. It leaves you holding your breath for a second. A full twisting one-arm giant right to a jam. Beautiful. And his long body just looks great up there. And he's winding up for his dismount. Half and half out.
Couple of hops.
And a small step. And it looks like he kind of tore the mat when he landed. In fact, that's what he did.
Sure did.
He just jammed those heels right down there.
Let's take a look at it again.
On the parallel bars, 9.675.
We'll take a timeout. We'll step aside and come back with more from Champaign, Illinois. We're back in Huff Gymnasium. Back to the parallel bars. Jerry Schimmel with Rob Brown. Big Ten 1992 Men's Gymnastics Championships.
And Tony's one of those specialists, again, that Minnesota looked for to come up with a big score on P-bars. And he's got a really original routine. He did a original mount, back uprise to Strelly. That's original, not seen very often.
This is Tony Bro from Minnesota, senior from Blaine, Minnesota.
Press handstand and a full dismount. And that is a stuck landing. Even had his feet together. Nice job, Tony. Again, doesn't have the big, powerful swings that we've seen, but he manages to to really go with his strengths and put together a nice original routine. And he nails that full dismount.
And pretty happy with his effort there, getting the slaps from teammates.
And there's a nice shot of the chalk, magnesium carbonate, if you'll recall from chemistry class in high school. And really what the chalk is for is your hands sweat. And if you happen to jump on the equipment with sweaty hands, you're going to slip off. So the chalk is used not necessarily to help you stick to the equipment, but just alleviates the sweat, kind of absorbs it, and gives you a dry surface to hold on to.
What about the honey there?
The honey is used for P-bars, where you do want to have it a little sticky. Your hands are kind of in a strange position when you're swinging through the bottom, and it's nice to have kind of a little sticky texture there to help you hold on.
9.75 the score to beat Rusty Schillinger from Ohio State.
And at this point, high bar has just lived up to its exciting nature. We've seen some big-time release moves. And Rusty mounts with a stem pirouette. And get ready for the fireworks. Full over the top. Full over the top again. And a ginger out of it. That is, again, original. And a one-arm giant rolls right to the dorsal grip. These guys are living on the edge tonight. And now his dismount. Double layout and nails it.
He liked that one.
Great routine. I thought he might have got himself in trouble on that dismount. You could kind of see the bar kind of bouncing as he let go, but he managed to find the ground and sticks the landing.
Rusty Schillinger, here's him beforehand getting himself psyched up for the event.
I love it.
And it paid off, obviously.
It did pay off. There's that dorsal grip. You can see how his wrists are kind of twisted. And here's the dismount. Watch, he kind of comes off early, looks for blue, and he nails the landing.
Go back to the parallel bars.
And this is Ricardo Sheriel. And we just saw two Heelys in a row. Beautifully done. Back toss to handstand, studs to handstand. And again, he's got that nice long body. When he stretches it out there to swing, it looks really nice. Another back toss to handstand. Tuck double. Oh! Touched his hands. And you could see how he kind of lifted them up like the ground was hot. I mean, again, they want to stick that landing, and when they touch their hands or take a step, it's just, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Again, nice back toss right to the dismount. And watch, he had enough height to pull it around. He just let go of his knees a little soon, had to touch his hands.
So Ricardo Sheriel has had some frustrating events, and I think one of those right there, the parallel bars. And now we go back to the man, Roethlisberger from Minnesota on the high bar. Score to beat 9.80 now for John. And you can see each gymnast kind of has their own little way of preparing their hand grips and getting chalked up. You know, they have little nooks and crannies they want to get filled in with chalk. Everybody with their own routine, I suppose, huh?
And it gives you a good shot at those big leather grips that they use. When I started in the sport, the hand guards only had one buckle, and they didn't have that big rubber dowel that they use in there. And now you can see we're talking 1-inch buckles, 2 of them, 3 finger holes. It's a big piece of equipment.
Last year that you competed at Minnesota was, what, 86?
Correct.
Did you have John's father as your coach then?
Yes, I did. And really had a good time up there, had a good career, and actually had an opportunity to coach Johnny as he was coming up at a local club where I worked in the summers. And I kind of like to take a little credit for his success at this point. But his father is a 68 Olympian. His sister Marie is an 84 Olympian.
Right.
I think it's just in the stars that Johnny's gonna make an Olympic team at some point.
Seems like just an absolutely pleasant young man.
Yeah, he is an outstanding person, excellent student. Really, he's what you're looking for in a collegiate athlete.
Judges, for some reason, holding things up just a bit here.
Now competing on the high bar from Minnesota.
And it looks like now they have cleared things, and we'll let Roethlisberger go to the high bar. I think they were talking over that rip of the mat that we just saw a few.
Yeah, which I wouldn't want to land in it, that's for sure. Here we go. Goes the wrong way over the top. And a Tkachev. And he winds up for these one-arm giants. You know something's big's coming. 2 one-arms to a front flip. There's a stoop half turn. Stalter. And watch this full pirouette right to that dorsal grip. Beautiful. And again, Johnny works fast. He's getting a lot out. And there's an original dismount. What we see tonight are all backward flipping dismounts. Johnny opted to come off with a front flip. And that was kind of a half of the back front flipping dismount. There's the full pirouette. Again, look at the twisted wrists. And here's the dismount. Again, he's swinging forward. And he winds up, there's a front flip, half turn, looks for the ground, nails it. And again, there's the veteran in Johnny. He sticks that landing.
With a smile on his face. Rich Briggs back on the parallels.
And Rich just did something really original. He did a plunge on 1 bar. Again, some serious strength. There's a cast with a half turn, straddle cut out. Ooh, now that is unusual. We just saw how strong he was.
Yeah.
And then he misses that simple press to handstand. And a pike double back. That's probably the most difficult dismount we've seen up to this time. The double back in the pike position. Again, kind of a strange thing. Comparable to Kerry Houston tripping on floor. Here's his pike double back. Grabbing the back of his legs, pulling around. Boom.
Yeah, you had mentioned Rob when he was on the rings of his incredible strength. And just a little slip there.
And a press to handstand is a basic skill.
Back to the high bar. Bo Hallman from Minnesota. 9.80 now, the score to beat.
And Bo mounting with that Stalter with the wrong grip. Nice stretch to Tkachev over the top. And a jam to handstand to put him in that dorsal grip. Nice inverted giants. All right, he's going to wind up for his dismount. And a full twisting double back. Ooh, fighting for that landing. Takes a small step. I guess we kind of get an idea tonight, too, of which teams have strong events. We've seen 3 guys from Minnesota on high bar. There were 3 guys on rings from Penn State. That really sums it up. You can figure out who's strong and what events.
We'll take a break. We'll come back with more in just a moment. Jerry Schimmel with Rob Brown here in Champaign on the campus of the University of Illinois, the 1992 Men's Gymnastics Championships for the Big Ten Conference. Minnesota has won it now for the 3rd consecutive year. Illinois had won it the previous 2 years, and Minnesota on a roll now.
Yeah, and I just got word that, if you recall, Jim Knott from Ohio took a landing, poked his heel through the mat, and tore the material on top. And the judges have opted to let him go again because they felt that he could have maybe stuck the landing if that hadn't happened.
That was what the huddle was all about between the judges that we saw there a few moments ago. So it appears that Roethlisberger might have to wait here. Well, let's see what the order is. I think it only fair because when he did land, it looked like the left foot did just break through the canvas there and maybe did cause him to slip, take that step.
And the landing surfaces are just crucial to the sport. It's just it saves the athlete from injury, and again, it provides a nice soft landing. And when you don't expect something like that to happen, it can throw you off.
We're going to let Roethlisberger go first here on the parallel bars.
And once again, Johnny's the defending champion on this event from last year.
Defending champ on the horse as well as the all-around champ from last year.
And I don't know if anyone noticed him preparing the bars. He did use that honey, and you can see him right now trying to lock his hands in that nice sticky grip. Peach the handstand, beautiful. And there's that giant swing front uprise. Ooh, he's got to use a little strength to get up to the handstand. That'll be a small deduction. Cast support. Back uprise. Pirouette. This is a new routine for John. Stutz to handstand. Another Stutz, beautiful. Swing, back toss to handstand. And John's working really well. And that's an original dismount. He swings as if he's going to do a pirouette, then he pops off that one arm and do a backflip. Again, something we haven't seen tonight.
Let's look at it into the dismount
And
here
here's
from
the front uprise preparing him. There's the half turn, and he pushes off backflip. And a nice landing. And again, it happens so quick. Unfortunately, he had that small kind of slowdown in the swing to the handstand on the end, and that's anywhere from a 1 to 3/10 deduction.
We saw him come off the high bar, Rob, with that big smile on his face, but not there on the parallels. You know, there's a bit of a smile there.
And that's because he is done. That was the last event.
Yep. He's smiling because he's all done.
That's right. It's been a long weekend.
We've got Kevin Crumley up now.
Now competing on the high bar.
On the high bar.
State University, Kevin Crumley.
From Ohio State. Crumley, a junior, Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Getting himself mentally prepared. Did the Big Ten Wrestling Championships a few weeks back, and he's got a wrestler's haircut. He doesn't look like a gymnast with that haircut.
No, he's kind of tough. He doesn't want to mess around. There's a nice full twisting one-arm giant. And here's his release. Tkachev. Beautifully done. And here's a jam. Right up to handstand. Nice inverted giant. And he winds up for the dismount. Triple back. Ooh! Again, he had the height, he had the rotation. It just seemed like he wasn't quite sure where the floor was, and it almost looked like he had it, and then he dropped to his knees. And if you'll notice again, he's not going to touch his hands. He just walked on his knees. He said, no way, I'm going to fight till the end on this one.
The mat's too hot. You can't touch it.
That's right. Watch, he pulls on those knees, pull. And right there he came out a little early. Oh, no! It's exactly what he's saying to himself, too. He's like, oh, I hate when that happens.
I'll go to my knees, but I will not let my hands touch.
That's right.
Come on, Nick.
Back to the parallel bars.
There's a nice peach straddle cut. Nice amplitude above the bars. A diameter to one bar.
This is Nick Baker from Illinois. Junior from Charlotte, North Carolina. They come from all over to compete in the Big Ten.
A nice swinging sequence there with the back Stutz. And now he's going to prepare for his dismount. Tuck double. Oh, fighting for the dismount. Beautiful routine. He had some very difficult skills that he did with a lot of virtuosity. And again, that's the little extra that's going to set you apart from the other athletes. Here's the tuck double. Looks for blue. Ooh, fighting for the landing. A small hop. Again, great routine.
For Nick Baker from Illinois. Move over a few steps to the high bar again. Here's Sheriel, Ricardo Sheriel from Illinois. I think if you asked him right now, Rob, he would probably tell you that the competition has been disappointing for him thus far.
Tonight, it looks like he's struggled on just about everything he's been on. He did a pretty good floor routine. Again, I'm going to have to attribute it to just a long weekend. These guys are tired.
Let me ask you, Rob, you look at these guys and you see the tremendous upper body strength, especially the arms and the shoulders. How much weightlifting do these athletes do?
You know, weightlifting is something that they've started to use in the last few years, but generally the strength The workout is done in the gym on the equipment where they actually just lift